So let's start by going over the problem. Matt and Olivia leave and are going to leave New York to go to Orlando. They have a flight from New York to Orlando with a layover in Atlanta. The bearing from New York to Atlanta is south 87 degrees west. The bearing from New York straight to Orlando is south 44 degrees east. The distance from New York to Atlanta is 621 miles. The distance from New York to Orlando is about 731 miles. How much shorter would it be to fly straight from New York to Orlando without a stopover? Round to the nearest whole number. So I already drew this out, and we're going to go ahead and explain it. I drew New York, and then I drew a north-south line straight through. Then we knew that Atlanta was south 87 degrees west, so I went south 87 degrees to the west, and I drew my line, and here's Atlanta, and I went ahead and labeled it 621 feet, or 621 miles, because we already knew that from the problem. And then we knew that Orlando is south 44 degrees east from New York, so I went ahead and drew that and labeled it 731 miles. And then we're asked to see how much shorter it would be to fly straight from New York to Orlando. So we already actually know how long it would be, but we don't know how much shorter until we find this side, which I went ahead and did. So we have this given, this, and this. So this is what we're looking for, and we can find it using law of cosines. So c squared equals 621 squared plus 731 squared minus 2 times 731 times 621 times cosine of c. Now we need to find cosine of c, or we need to find c before we can continue. So c squared equals 621 squared plus 731 squared minus 2 times 731 times 621 times cosine of 131. And I got 131 by adding these two angles because we know that this is 44 degrees and this is 87 degrees. So together it's 131 degrees. When you plug that into your calculator, you end up with c squared equaling 1,515,639. Taking the square root of that, c is 1,231 miles. Now, we found how long this is, but that still doesn't tell us how much shorter the distance is straight from New York to Orlando. So 1231 plus 621, to add up how long it would be with layovers, is 1852 miles. So again, that's New York to Atlanta to Orlando. And from New York straight to Orlando, it's 731 miles, so New York to Orlando. And to figure out how much shorter this distance is, we subtract this distance from this distance, and we end up with 1,121 miles is how much more it'll go if you have a layover. So it's definitely faster just to go from New York to Orlando.